In this video, we're going to cover the basics of building a simple robot like this and explain what each of its parts are doing. So let's get to it. The core of our robot's going to be this chassis. It's got two motors underneath, one connected to each wheel so we can drive each wheel independently. Up front we've got a spinny caster wheel. On the top we've got batteries to power the robot and an on-off switch to switch it on and off. We're going to add to this chassis a brain to tell the robot when to move and a way of controlling these two motors. This is an Arduino circuit board and it's going to form the brain of our robot. It's based around this chip, which is a microcontroller that takes inputs from the outside world, like listening to when buttons are being pressed, and provides outputs like telling motors to switch on and how fast to go. We can power it from a battery pack just by connecting the black wire to the ground pin on the microcontroller down here and the red wire to V in over here. You see the device lights up and the on light comes on. I said that the Arduino can be used to control motors, but first let's make sure we can control this LED. I've set the Arduino up to blink pin 9 over here. So if we connect our LED between ground and pin 9, we should see it light up and start flashing away. Now, there's a little bit of software involved in this, and we're going to talk about that in the next video. The Arduino board's great for controlling small outputs like switching LEDs on and off, but it's not designed to drive something more powerful like a motor. To drive our motors, we could connect each motor to a battery pack just by using a switch. But rather than a person turning the switch on or off, we want to let our Arduino control how fast the motor is turning and whether it's going forwards or backwards. To do this, we're going to connect the motor via a motor controller and use our Arduino to tell the motor controller what to do. This is our motor controller board. It's capable of controlling motor currents up to 4 amps, which means in the future it'll be able to handle much bigger motors than the ones in this little robot. To connect the motor controller, we apply power to the front here, so this is where our batteries connect in, and then we can connect a motor to each side here. In order to tell the motors how fast to go and whether to go forwards or backwards, we use these pins here, and these are what we're going to connect to our Arduino. So we're going to connect the motor via the out 1 and out 2 pins, and then we're going to connect the Arduino via 3 more pins. These pins tell the motor when to go forwards, when to go backwards, and how fast to go. Just like before, we need to provide power to the Arduino through the V-in pin and ground, and we need to provide power to the motor controller via ground and the plus 12 volts pin. Making all of these connections is just a case of plugging in each wire in turn and taking care to make sure we get them all in the right place. If anything doesn't work after connecting up, it's worth going back and checking all of the connections go to the right point on each board. The wire colours here aren't important, they just help make it easier to trace the connections through. Once everything is connected up, we can insert the batteries, and now, using some software on our Arduino, instead of just controlling an LED, we can control the motor too. Connecting our second motor is just the same as before. There are 2 wires that go to the motor and 3 wires that go to the Arduino to control it. Once we've got everything hooked up, our Arduino can control both of the motors, and our robot's ready to start driving itself around. Finally, to stop these boards moving around, I'm going to hold them in place with some of this sticky back Velcro. We've now got all the parts connected up, ready for our robot to drive itself around like this. In the next video, we'll talk about some of the software I'm using here to tell it what to do. Thanks for watching, I'll catch you next time.